The Balance Doctor. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Be sure to subscribe to The Kim Jacobs Show right on YouTube. Turn on your notification bell to all so you never miss a beat. And guess what? Every time you watch, you're going to receive a real relevant and relatable guest that's going to share with you a piece of the puzzle on this journey called life that will help you be able to manage just a little bit smoother. At the end of the day, the Kim Jacobs Show goal is to be able to provide balance to the world, one household at a time.
Kim Jacobs Show. You're watching Kim Jacobs Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. I hope that you all have had a wonderful, wonderful time. I'm not going to timestamp this show because it might be something that we re-air in the future, but I just want to say, and you know what I'm talking about, that you've had a great time with your family, your friends, your loved ones. Welcome, Patina. How are you today?
I am fantastic. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Look, I just said I wasn't going to timestamp it, and look what's in the background of your picture over there.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, that's cute. Okay, so there you have it.
But I keep it up year round, just to let you know that.
Oh, that's good to know.
I keep it up year round, just to let you know that.
You know what? It's interesting that you would say that. As everybody's coming in and grabbing your virtual seats, go ahead and let everybody know that the Kim Jacobs Show is here on the air. Go ahead and invite your friends, your family, coworkers, tag everybody. Don't let people miss this important episode that's happening today. But while you're grabbing your virtual seat, Patina, it's interesting you say that we have a tree that we have in honor of my son that passed away. And
Wow.
It's a believe tree. So it has believe everywhere around it and all kinds of family photos. And
Yes.
It's photos of him with each of the family members. And one year I kept it up because we kept it in his memorial room. But then I've been taking it down. And there are a few times that I've taken it down that I was like, I missed that tree being up there.
Exactly.
So you do this. What made you do your all year round?
I don't know. It's just one of my favorite holidays. So I do it year round. Christmas is every day for me. Every day I'm alive to see I'm 6 feet above the ground and not 6 feet under. That's a present for me. So I'm good. So that's why I keep it.
You make me feel so much better because it makes me be like, maybe I'll keep my tree up because I love it and put some hearts around it.
I keep it up and I could care less what other people have to say about it. So
wow. Anyway, so there you have it. I hope that you guys have had a wonderful holiday season with your family, regardless of when you're watching this, because Christmas, according to Patina, is all year round.
All year round.
And so anytime you have the opportunity to be above board and to be able to continue to make a difference on this earth, then that's a blessing. What are some of the things that you kind of took away from 2021? I know we're going to talk more and I'm going to interview you specifically, but any kind of takeaway points?
What a takeaway point for me was healing. I lost my brother in 2020, one of my brothers in 2020, and I didn't have the chance to mourn him the way I should have been able to mourn him because I had to deal with conflict and confrontation, and it really made me angry. Because I wasn't able to mourn my brother the way I should have. But 2021 was that opportunity of going through the healing process, of forgiving process, because God doesn't put anything on you that he knows that you cannot handle. And even though I had to deal with that and I had to lose some people out of my life out of it, I say thank you, because what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. So in this 2021 years, I've learned a lot of healing. There's been some relationships that got healed. There's been some relationship that has been severed, but it was necessary to have it. But it was healing. And that's what 2021 did for me, healing. And it created the foundation of now I go into 2022. Like my pastor said, the mission is possible.
The mission is possible. I love that. I love it.
Is possible. That was my pastor. And I said out of it, regardless of what has happened, the people that walked away, the people who chose to do it, and some people you didn't have to because your actions spoke louder than words. So I
Good.
have to walk away and heal from the strength that the power of LIG, let it go. And we'll talk more about that when we
Wow.
get into the topic tonight. You have to only have the LIG, let it go, but give me the strength to let it stay gone and not to go back to it.
Oh my gosh, girl, I am loving it. That's such great takeaways for 2021. I was telling some people when I was out by a lake that, I noticed that my children really value my input and the things that I share with them. And I really didn't recognize it as much as more recently, especially because some of my children are now adults. I have a
Right.
24-year-old and a 21-year-old. These are my adult children. I have 5. But to know that they still kind of cling on to some of the things that I'm
Yes.
sharing with them, and they're seeking that advice and they're implementing the advice is something that has just really touched my heart, to know that I'm still
Yes.
helping to shape and to develop who they are as adult individuals. It's one thing when I'm shaping my younger children, but it's another thing, Fatina, whenever my adult children are saying, Mom, here, you know what? I'm getting ready to go back to college and go back on campus. And I really would like to just have a meeting with you and talk about my housing and what your suggestions are. And I don't really want to have necessarily a roommate. Do you think this or do you think that? It's when we're talking about balancing this thing called life, it's really a never ending process when it comes to parenting. As a
Exactly.
mom, I am always still in parent mode. When they have issues, when they're crying or they're sad about something or they're struggling with a area that they're trying to figure out and maneuver through, I'm right there with them on that
That's right.
journey. Parenting
That's
still
right.
never stops.
Never.
So
Never.
that's just something that it was a learning for me, that it let me know that I am valued by those in my children,
Yes.
my 5 children. My son in heaven is one of my 5 that I know he's still with me and
That's
watching
right.
from heaven. But my children, they need me and they desire to learn from me and take some of the advice that I give them and implement it. So that was something that I think I really took away. And another thing too, Fachina, for me that I took away from 2021 is that I really, change is inevitable. It's something that's going to happen whether we want it to
Mhm.
or not. So we just need to embrace it and figure out how we're going to go with it. It's like whether
Right.
you want it or whether it was by force or by choice, change is happening. Now what?
Exactly.
What are you
Exactly.
gonna do with it? Are you
What
gonna just curl up and croak over and just stop and figure out like I can't do anymore? I
which
gotta
is
go.
which is by the way easy for people to do, but that is the broad path. Take the narrow path. You go through it because you have to trust the process. The process is not easy and ain't made to be nice and ain't
Mhm.
mean it's not made to be it's not a pleasantry thing,
Right.
but it's a refining moment.
Yeah.
You're like a clay on a potter's wheel and you're spinning and he's molding and maybe it go down, then you got to build it back up. But you got to prepare yourself to be part of it and say, Lord, I trust you.
I trust you. I trust you. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, we already kicked this show off, right? So everybody, you should be in your virtual seats at this point. Go ahead and take a moment and share this broadcast. Don't deprive other people of the opportunity to hear what's about to be shared today. We're going to be talking here with Fatina, and Fatina is talking to us about childhood sexual abuse. She says it's not her fault what she experienced, but it's her responsibility. And we're going to learn what that means. So, right now, go ahead and share this broadcast. Share the broadcast, tag some friends, invite them in to hear today's discussion on It's Not My Fault, but It Is My Responsibility. So let's take 30 seconds and tag some folk now. And you know what, Fatina, before I even tag folk, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull my Facebook page up right now, right? The thing is,
Okay.
it's weird because by the time I actually pull the page up, get to it, the 30 seconds is over. I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous. I have never seen 30 seconds go so
Yeah, I'm actually using my phone. So hold on. Let me see if I can go into if you let me see if I can go into Facebook.
And that's
I
funny.
have.
Everybody else, go ahead, because you already on your devices. Go ahead and tag your friends. Also, let us know where you're visiting in from. But tag some people and let them know. Share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. Share it. And let people be a part of today's discussion.
Yeah.
And
I
I
have.
am going to, yes, I'm going to go right over to my Facebook page. Give me a second, everybody. And what I'll do is I'll communicate with you all, because sometimes when I'm looking down, you'll know what I'm looking down at. I'm getting ready to tag some friends. And when I put this 30 seconds up, so that way, hey, I see my cousin Veronica is already on. Glad
All
to
right.
have you, Veronica. Thank you so much for tuning in every weekday. And go ahead and share it with all of your travelers. My cousin Veronica is a travel agent that she actually has her own travel company. So if you all haven't connected with Veronica Harris, make sure you do so and tell her that her cousin Kim sent you her way. All right, everybody, let's tag 10 people now. Okay. Did you get some people tagged, Patina?
You know what I got? I have someone coming to fix my window. I have too many things going on at one time. And
Oh,
I'm just
that's
like,
so
okay,
funny.
Jesus,
That's what we
take
call
the
this
wheel.
show, the Kim Jacobs Show, and it's bringing balance to the world one household at a time.
I'm
So
telling you, I got my son doing this and I'm trying to do that. I was like, we're going to work it out, but I'm putting it in your hands, Lord. We're going to
don't
put it in
worry
your
about
hands.
it. The point is, if you have to take a quick break and go deal with the person, open the door. This show is all about how we're balancing different aspects of our
Okay.
lives. So
Because
guess
he's
what?
having a problem trying to find me. And I'm like, wow, you done been to my house 2 times. This is the third time. What
Well,
is
what
it
would
that
the
you have a
show be
problem with?
if it's a show about balance? Okay, guess what? We can show the guy fixing the window, right? It's okay. It's totally
Exactly.
okay.
And now someone else is coming to fix my car, except for the person who's supposed to be.
Well, at least
Uh,
they'll get some holiday cheer over there since you leave your stuff up all year.
yeah.
That's funny, everybody. Okay, so listen, I know I tagged a few people. I want to go ahead and formally introduce our guest today and just give people a chance to know. Fatina, you're frozen over there, but
Yeah.
I know because people are
I'm
calling you and
sorry.
texting you and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know what
I
I'm going
should
to do?
be.
I'll remove you from the screen for a second, and then because I
Okay.
know you need to check that, and then I'll pull you right back in after the commercial. Okay.
Okay. Thank
All right, all right. So today, everybody, first of all, I am so glad that you all are here with us today here on the Kim Jacobs Show. And the guest that we have, Patina, is going to be talking to you about her journey. And she says, hey, it's not my fault, but it is her responsibility to educate others today. And so I'm hoping that you all will invite as many people as possible to be a part of today's discussion. I really hope that you enjoyed your holiday season with your family, your loved ones, and that you have some key takeaways, some key learnings from 2021 as you go into this new year here, that you're not going to just take some of those old habits and those old behaviors and old things that weighed you down and really put too much weight on you to the point where you feel like the weight of the world is really weighing you down. Guess what? Let's get some of those things out because, as I already said, change is inevitable. Change is something that we can embrace or we can reject it, but it's happening regardless. Okay. So, as at the end of the day, whether it's by force or by choice, we want to be able to know that change is going to happen. So, what are we going to do about it? What I know what I'm going to do about it is I'm going to continue to just live the life that God purposed me to live. And I know who I live for. And so, things that happen in life, they just happen. What can you do about it? I can't do not a thing about it except for go on and still be what God called me to be. So let me go ahead and introduce our guest today. Our guest today is Patina, and I want to make sure that she has someone calling him. Again, this show is about balance, right? So she has someone coming to fix a window today. And so that's what she's dealing with for a quick second. But we're going to go ahead and introduce her. Patina Kirkendall is a certified coach practitioner, a motivational speaker, and she is also the CEO of Chronicles of a Favored Woman. She's out of Duluth, Georgia. So I didn't even know that. You're out of the Georgia area, okay? She was once a victim and now a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. And she can talk about some things that she recalled, which she lists here in her bio, but I'll let her talk to you about those. She actually also has a podcast every Sunday at 9:30 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. And so today, I would like to make sure that we formally introduce Patina Kirkendall. And I'm going to pull you back in, Patina. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I done moved my stuff all around, trying to get back in the seat, but we're going to work it out.
Don't worry about it. This is a show about how we balance different aspects of our lives.
Exactly.
Patina, I do want to make sure that people know that childhood national child abuse and sexual abuse is real. It's something that
very much so
is happening across the land. I want you to kind of take us back and talk to us about your experience, your story, and right after this commercial break, and tell us about what you had to endure and what made you kind of so passionate about sharing it and now making it your responsibility to help other people. Okay?
Yes.
So right after this commercial break, we'll learn more from Patina Kirkendall.
I'm attorney Kenneth D. Snow, and at the Snow Legal Group, justice is our job.
For more than 20 years, Attorney Snow has been fighting for justice and winning cases in the Carolinas by providing aggressive representation in criminal defense, domestic violence, family law, serious injury, and wrongful death. If you've been injured or lost a loved one in an accident, including tractor trailer or rideshare, you need the Snow Legal Group by your side, fighting for justice and fighting for you. Visit snowlegal.com. Call 704-358-0026 for a free virtual consultation. Located at 6827 Fairview Road, Suite D in South Park.
All right, everyone, and we are back with the lady that's balancing her life over there, getting a window fixed and also getting something done that she has happening.
I'm so sorry, you all.
The epitome of balancing your life right here on the Kim Jacobs Show, where we bring balance to the world one household at a time. So
yes,
you're going to see people really balancing their lives, right?
Literally.
Okay. Patina, talk to us and take us back, if you can, on your journey.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me just say, if I go into a coffee cell, please forgive me because I am not feeling my best today, but we're going to work this out. So my story is really nothing different than so many other women. As a child, we always expect, we always expect our elders to take care of us. Okay. They're our protectors. They're the ones that protect us from other dangers. But when the danger comes from within, it's like a bubble. Let me go this. There's a bubble formed over us because we know that we are protected. We know we're good. But it's one thing when the arrows hit the bubbles from the outside, but when the crack starts from the inside, it's explosive. I've never in a million years thought that I would be an advocate for sexual childhood abuse because I never thought it would happen to me.
But who does? Who
never
thinks
thought it would happen to me? But it did. And it did from my kindergarten to my third grade year of life, continuously. What's interesting is I had to suffer that through silence because I grew up in a rural area. And the rural area, I won't say just the fact that you're a rural area, but when you're a country, I call myself, I was born in the North, I was raised in the South. You always had that thing of, children are made to be seen and not heard. Now I know I'm not the only person who's gone through that, and people who've heard hearing now, I know you can relate to what I'm saying. I went through that in silence. On top of that, I had to deal with rejection. I had to deal with abandonment. I had to deal with all of that on top of being molested. My molester was a family member. I never thought in a million years that I would be molested by a family member or manipulated, because I was manipulated to doing certain things where I was left in a total state of confusion. I didn't know where boundaries were because my boundaries have been violated as a young child. I didn't know the understanding of, is this supposed to be family or is this supposed to be someone supposed to be liking me in a very inappropriate way? I don't know how to juggle any of that. As a result of it, I started masturbating at an early age. I started becoming promiscuous at an early age. And instead of people trying to figure out why is this child being like this, I was ridiculed. I was talked about. I was downplayed. And this is family. So I had to deal with a lot. It sounded like you wanted to ask something. What was it?
Yeah, I was gonna just ask. I was gonna say, now you say this is a family member that did
Yes.
this to you. Did any other family members know that this family members was
No, because
inappropriately handling you?
that's how perpetrators are. It's always somebody you know, and there's always someone you trust. And there's always someone that you would never think that would do something like that. And in the end, I had a situation where back in the day, we had one line, one telephone line, and the line ran for every house on each road.
Right.
And I heard the perpetrator on the phone with another woman, and I became jealous. And as a result, I acted out. And so in the end, that person came over to my house and told my grandmother what was going on. And I was thinking, okay, maybe this is an opportunity. I can tell what's going on. But I was disciplined right on the spot.
Okay, wait. So now, what I'm understanding you to say is that someone that was on, because then I clearly hear and I follow my guests all the time. So we're not going into names or anything because you're not going into names. So I'm following your lead. So the perpetrator is what we're calling this person in this regard. The perpetrator, according to, this is Fatina's story, everyone. Okay. So the views that are expressed are views that are of the guests, and they're sharing their own story. It does not always reflect that of the show or me as the host. But I can tell you that what she's sharing is that she was violated from kindergarten through third grade and molested by a family member, according to her, and what's happened in her own story, right? Now, in the midst of that, she became jealous and overheard the perpetrator actually talking to someone else that he was interested in, and she acted out. She was like, "What's up?" Basically, "What's happening here? I thought you were with me." Now, again, all of this, visualize this, everybody. This is a lot for a young child to have to be acting out with a family member that's an adult or a teenager. Adult family member. Now she's like, "Hey, I thought you loved me because this is how you've been coming on to me as my family member inappropriately." So now the person that's the young lady that he's on the phone with peeps this. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
And so she comes over and says, "I think something's going on."
The perpetrator comes over to my grandmother's house.
Oh, the perpetrator comes over and says what?
And told that I was disrespectful on the phone. And I was disrespectful. And so for me, I was like, okay, maybe this is an opportunity to say, hey, this is what's going on. You know,
did you take that opportunity? Did you do that?
I didn't. It wasn't me that didn't take the opportunity. It was my grandmother did not recognize it. She did not recognize what was going on. No pun to my grandmother. She did the best that she could do. But the only thing they saw was you disrespected an adult, immediate reprimand, and slapped the fire out my face. I will never forget that. And at that moment, that's when I knew I have no help. I have no one who's going to help me. I know that I am doing this by myself, and I'm going to have to deal with it by myself. And so I became a protective measure, just like automatically come. It was survival of the fittest. And I know I can't depend on nobody to help me but me. And at that time, I wasn't thinking about God, because I went to church all the time, but I wasn't thinking about him. I just know that I have to survive, and I got to get through this by myself. And for years, I carried this along, and not realizing, as I was trying to push it back, like pushing the back of my memory as if it never happened.
Right.
It did happen, and even though I wouldn't talk about it, it came out in other ways, back talking, short-tempered, making a mountain out of a molehill. All types of things came out as of it. And it wasn't until my mother, at that time, she was out of, she moved my brothers and I to South Carolina,
Okay.
and she was in New Jersey, and then she came back home because her and my father was separated, and whatever the case may be. And it wasn't until then when she came and took us to live in Charleston that I was away from my perpetrator.
And that was at what age?
Let's see, I started 4th grade. That's when it started. That's when I was removed.
So how old were you at that time? 4th grade is?
4th grade is probably around 9 years old. Mm-hmm.
So from the time you were in kindergarten, like 5, 6 years old, to the time you were like about 9, 10 years old, this person had access to you and had everyone else convinced that you were the disrespectful one.
That's what they do. That's what most perpetrators will do. They will make it seem as if they're the hero and you're the zero, because that's how they keep it up. That's how they keep up the facade. That's how they keep up the whatever. And let me just stop for a second and tell people, don't think that it cannot happen to you. It can happen to your family. Pay attention to your children. And I'm going to get into that a little later on paying attention to your children.
Yeah, because we all want to know what signs to look for.
But also make your environment comfortable for your children to come to you about stuff. Okay, because kids that seen and not, be seen and not be heard, that's only good for certain particular things in your life. But kids do need to be heard. They need not only be seen, but they need to be heard. If your child is acting a certain kind of way that is opposite of what it is,
right?
And you don't see that because you're not paying attention. But kids will give you signs of something going on, or there's this cry for help. You just have to open up your eyes, take the scales off your eyes to realize what's going on. If they pee in the bed, if they've been failing school, if they're being withdrawal, if they're doing whatever, becoming promiscuous at such a young age. Let me tell you something. Behavior patterns are learned, not learned and taught. It is not automatically given or woven to us. So you have to pay attention to the signs.
Yes. This is some good information that you're sharing, and I appreciate you even being willing to open up and tell us about your story. And I think just hearing this information is going to help so many other parents out here and open up this conversation with our children so we can know that they are comfortable and it's open door policy. And hey, we want to make sure that nothing's going on that you don't want happening to you. I really admire you taking this stance. So Patina, how did when your mom and them came in and took you to South Carolina, is that when you?
No, I was always in South Carolina. Yeah. Well, she moved us to South Carolina, but we were like kids, where we moved out of Jersey City.
So how did anybody ever approach this perpetrator? Did you ever tell anybody? Did you say this happened maybe to prevent somebody else from experiencing that was maybe left back there near the perpetrator? What was the outcome of that?
Okay, so no, I did not tell anyone because I didn't trust anyone, and that included family, with the exception of one person. It wasn't until my senior year in high school I met someone who I knew genuinely cared for me. Genuinely cared. No motives, no hidden agendas, no anything. And I don't know what came up in our conversation, and I broke down and I started crying, and I finally released it and said, I was molested for this and this time. And we were both still kids and stuff. I expected it. It was just, I was just happy to get it off my chest.
Get it off, right?
Finally get it off my chest.
Was this a male friend or a female friend that you told this?
It was a male friend.
Okay.
And trust me, I didn't trust nobody. In high school, people always tell me, Patina, you're a pretty girl and everything, but people were afraid to approach you. I said, why? They said, because you would embarrass us in a second. I said, if you came in correctly, yes, I did. But I said, believe it or not, my tongue became my defensive force, because if I knew I keep people away from my boundaries, I wouldn't have to worry about being violated again.
Wow. I want to read some statistics here to 98 adult cases in 2021, a 21% increase from last year's 81. 54 cases involve victims under 15 years of age, which is a 93% increase from last year, which was 28. This is reported by this was by the Charlotte Observer, the amount of abuses that happen. Let's see, 7.2% of all children surveyed in 2019 had been victims of sexual assault. That's big to me. This is ridiculous. Child sexual abuse statistics highlighted harrowing revelation that teens age 14 to 17 were the highest risk category for sexual assault, with more than 1 in 4 adolescents, which is 27.3%, having been sexually victimized during their lifetime. And this is on legal.jobs site. And more statistics that came from Crime Victim Centers, which is parents for Megan's Law. Megan's Law, just so everyone knows, is a law that is named after 7-year-old Megan Kanka. I might be pronouncing her name wrong, but Megan is her first name. A New Jersey girl who was raped and killed by a known registered sex offender who had moved across the street from the family without their knowledge. In the wake of the tragedy, the Kansas sought to have local communities warned about sex offenders in the area. All states now have a form of Megan's Law in place. The 1 in 3 girls, 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused before the age of 18. 1 in 6 boys, and these are not just girls, these are boys too, sexually abused before the age of 18. And 1 in 5 youth received a sexual approach or solicitation over the internet in the past year. It's a lot of statistics. I can go on and on and on. This is alarming.
It is very alarming. And just think about, I live in the Atlanta area. So, child sex trafficking is very high here in this area, in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So I want to say there's so many ways I could spin this. I would love to do another show about this.
You're welcome to come back and do whatever you want to.
I'm just going to bare my soul, because I don't know any other way to be, is just be straight up with folks. So my thing is this, hurt people. And as a result, those are rates, those are statistics are very alarming. Being a survivor myself, having that being done, I also know that some people, when they are violated, they violate. When you're violated as a kid, you're going to repeat what you've been done because you think that is normal behavior. When you're a kid. I know of a situation now where two children, I think it's 5 years in between the children. Both of them, one was violated. The violator was violated at a very young age. In turn, violated another person at a younger age. Both children. That saddens me very much, because I'm very close to these people. I say all this to say this. It's one thing to have a child do it, because a child doesn't know any better, because if they've been violated, they're going to do the same thing. Do I condone what they do? No, they don't. But you have to understand, that's a child. As children, we're gonna repeat exactly what's been done to us, because we don't know any better. I'm just gonna say this to parents, that when you're dealing with children, both who have been violated, you have to, it's a sensitive thing. It's a very sensitive thing, okay? But remember, those are children.
That's right. So how do you, I want to know, when we come back, how do you recommend that parents open up this dialogue with children so that we can get to what, and you don't want to come across as a parent that's like trying to force your kid to be saying that something
Of
happened, because then you're
course,
like,
of
I
course.
said it, nothing happened. And so you can't keep on saying, did something happen? Did something happen? It's like,
Yeah,
I already told you nothing happened. So you don't want to be that parent that keeps
and I
pressing and
was.
pressing and pressing. But after this
Mhm.
commercial break, I'd love for you to talk to us about what are some ways that parents can open up the dialogue with their children and deal with what they hear, because we don't know what, we don't even know what they're going to hear, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
So right after this commercial break, everyone, we're going to learn from Patina, our guest today, who, and you hate to say she's an expert in child sexual assault because of the fact she
I'm an
actually experienced,
overcomer.
huh?
I'm an overcomer.
Yes, thank you. I was trying to think, what in the world kind of word is this? This is ridiculous that you even have to
Overcomer.
be talking about this, but
Mhm.
she's an overcomer and a survivor and a thriver, and is now here to help others find the signs, get to the root causes of it, and get the help that we need to prevent any of our children from experiencing what she experienced. We'll be right
Mhm.
back.
It's not just another day, it's a brand new day, full of all the fun, love, and laughter you and your family create. Silver Shield Security understands feeling at home means feeling safe and happy. No credit checks, no contracts. We offer payment arrangements, and we'll even give you a free door camera. Find out how we can brighten your day even more at silvershield-security.com. Silver Shield Security.
All right, everyone, and we are back. We are back with Patina, and she is talking to us. I wanted to find out, Patina, I wanted to get some clarity as to what advice would you give parents that need to have these really candid discussions with our children?
First, we're gonna start with the parents. If you come back with some background, like for instance, I'm a survivor, so I had to heal myself. We have to heal ourselves, and we have to throw our pride away when it comes to our children. Humble yourself, okay? Kids need to see every part of our life. They need to understand emotions that we feel as an adult, because guess what? We can't train them to be humble. We can't train them to do this if we're not practicing it ourselves. For
Good.
instance, parents, if you get into an altercation in front of your children, make up in front of your children so they'll know that things happen and then there's recovery and healing from it. That's number one. So search yourself first. Okay. If you know something's going to happen that's going to trigger an emotion or whatever the case may be, then you need to deal with you first before you can go to your child, period.
I'm
Because it's not
typing what
about
you're
you.
saying. So if you all see me kind of looking somewhere, it's because I'm actually typing what Fatina is saying to make sure that you have these as takeaway points. So deal with yourself first before, and your own issues. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Good.
Or come to peace with them and realize it's not about you, it's about the child. That is what I'm going to say. Now, I'm not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know, because as a result, I found out my son was a victim as well, my oldest son. So I'm trying to tell you, because I could not identify the sign because I was still dealing with my own hell, I didn't even recognize. But you know what's interesting?
Oh my gosh.
I always knew. I always knew. But I was that parent was like, is this happening to you? Is this happening? I was like that drill sergeant, drill sergeant. And what they do is they move further and further away instead of creating that environment to say, you know what, babe, I'm here for you. I just want you to know that I love you. You can come to me about everything. There's no such things as secrets. Anybody who tells you there's a secret, there's no such things as secrets. Come and talk to me. Let's have a discussion. There's no judgment. And then go into that role, because I did quite the opposite, quite the opposite. And then I didn't find out until later on in the adult years what was going on. And then I found out another family member was affected by it as kids. These kids, just to let you all know, kids communicate in a totally different way than children do. I mean, than adults do. You can't put a child on an adult level and then
Right.
expect them to understand or comprehend where you're going. You have to go to a level where they can understand, and then they will know how to come to you. Just create the safe environment for them. But if you got that negative attitude, that drill sergeant attitude, blah, 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 all you're doing is pushing them away. That's it. But I will tell you, in the midst of your healing process, in the midst of you doing that, they will come eventually, whether they want to or not. Some way, the truth will always come out. Whatever's done in the dark will always come to the light.
I
You know,
believe that with my whole
so
heart.
just create the open space. But I want to go back on adults who are now overcomers from childhood molestation.
Yes.
One, it's not your fault what has happened to you. No, it's not. I don't care if it's sexual abuse, verbal, whatever the case may be. It's not your fault what has happened to you. It's not your fault all the negative stuff that you had to endure. It's not your fault of the name calling, the backlashing, the backstabbing, the whatever. No, it's not your fault. No, it's not. But it is your responsibility. Is my responsibility? Yes. Are you going to stay down? Are you going to conform to what they made you out to be?
Right.
No, you will not. You do have power, and there's power in your voice. Communicate it. If you can't do it verbally, then write it down. I would know one of the things that I do, and used to, and I still do it every now and then, I would keep slips of paper at my desk. And whenever a thought or something, emotion comes across my mind, I'll write it down, and then I'll tear it up and throw it in the trash.
Okay, wait, what do you mean by that? So like a bad thought that came from the incident?
It could be whatever you feel, whatever you need to do to get it out, because that's your subconscious trying to bring it out.
Okay.
You don't want to keep that in, because what it does is festers and it becomes cancerous to you because you can't let it out. You're not letting it out. So now you're just like a bottle top, like a soda, and so on, shaking it up. But every time you let it go, it relieves the pressure. Every time you write it down or write a letter, slip the paper, tear it up if you don't want to give it to someone, but write it down and express it. You know why? Because you're releasing it. And that's what you want to do. You want to release it. You release it till you get to the point where you discover now you're taking your power. Now you're going towards it, because once you admit, then you know. I always tell people, don't act like it never happened, because it did.
Right.
Acknowledge it. Okay? Acknowledge it. And it goes back to, I'm not sure if I'm moving ahead of myself. It goes back to the three elements, and there's always the three elements that I always suggest that I speak about. And that is, one, discovering and utilizing the power of your voice. There is peace in your voice. There is power in your voice. There is authority in your voice. There is recovery in your voice. There's healing in your voice. There's transition in your voice. And there's deliverance in your voice. You have to know who your power is and where your source comes from. My source comes from the Lord. Pull on. And for those who don't believe in God, whatever the case may be, you pull on your power cord, whatever that power cord may be. But me, myself, is God. It's going to be God all the way. Because
it's definitely God for me too. Again, I don't cast condemnation on anybody else.
Exactly. He has never left me nor forsake me. And when I used to ask that question, why, Lord? Why me? If this didn't happen to me, I wouldn't have been addicted to sex. If this didn't happen to me, I wouldn't have been addicted to pain. If this didn't happen to me, blah, 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 blah. And you know what he said? Why not you?
Why not you?
I said, oh, that kind of shut me down. Like, what? Why not me?
That's good.
God would never put anything on you that you cannot handle.
And I agree with that with my whole heart. And even though you're talking about putting it on a sheet of paper and ripping it up, which is a wonderful concept too. I know journaling is something that I do. I will write and pour my whole soul out.
Exactly.
And I'll write a letter like I'm writing a letter to the person. I have it sealed. Never, I guess whenever I pass, if they ever see it, they'll be like, is that what she found? Because I have it all sealed in an envelope, like I was gonna mail it, but never mail.
And that's the way you have to do it sometimes. But but it gives you back your power. Each time you're doing it, you're emptying out that toxic that was trying to hold you down. You ended now. Don't think the enemy don't know that you're doing it too now.
That's right.
Because he's going to do everything he can to throw it right back in your face. But you just I'd be like, you know what? Not today, devil. Not today. Not today. And I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm gonna keep it moving. So understanding and utilizing the power of your voice. The second thing is you have to forgive. What do you mean I have to forgive? You have to forgive. It's not the person, it's the sin. You have to forgive. What has unforgiveness brought you? Pain, suffering, anguish, not only to yourself, but those who are around you.
That's right.
Forgive everyone. The perpetrator, those who didn't understand, those who didn't bother to find out, those who you felt like didn't protect you, forgive.
Forgive everyone. Forgive everyone, no matter what.
Just remember, forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. But the most important forgiveness you need to do is to forgive yourself. Because you hold yourself captive to something that you had no control over. You can't accept responsibility for something that you had no control over. And it goes back to understanding and utilizing the power of your voice. Put the shame where it belongs. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the person that did it to you.
Did it, right.
So just remember, you cast that right back on them. Okay. Do not accept the blame for something you did not do. Okay.
I'm a big advocate of that. Do not try to blame me for anything I didn't do. If I did it, I did it. And I take ownership of it. If I didn't, you did it.
Wear your crown.
That's right.
Well, the things that you used to accept, a whore, unworthy, unacceptable, not going to fit in, not going to do this, and replace it and put it on the crown that God has placed on you. That's worthy. Good. You are a child of God.
Yes.
My creation. You are a queen.
Yes. Fearfully and wonderfully made.
Awful and fearfully and wonderfully made. And you don't now listen to what they used to call you. You listen to what I redeemed you to.
Yes.
That's where forgiveness comes in. Because once you forgive them and forgive yourself, you have a new creature. And if you have not accepted Christ, invite them in. And I'm trying to tell you that would be the best decision you could ever done. And to know that he was with you all the time.
All along.
The whole time he was with you. And when the time came to rise up, now is such a time as this. Why should I forgive? Because think about a time when you did something that you knew you ain't had no right to it. You know you were wrong. You know
I've done plenty of things. I was like, oh gosh, I hope that don't come back up.
How you were able to talk about it now. Trust me, it ain't you. Okay? It was God through you that you was able to come to this point now. So if God can forgive you, then you can forgive others. Because when Jesus was on the cross, he said, I'm going to forgive Kim. I'm going to forgive Yolanda. I'm going to forgive this. I'm going to forgive, but I'm not going to forgive Patina. How would you feel?
You know that ain't even how God works. But my question to you would be, even in forgiving someone, do you still believe, because I want to know from you, because you're the person that experienced this, do you believe that you should still hold people accountable for what they've done? Or do you just say forgive and forget? It's a big difference. What's your thought?
Well, it depends on what you mean by holding accountable.
It's blanketed, it's vague, so you can take it in whatever direction you want.
All right. Now, if you're dealing with kids, it's totally different than when you're dealing with an adult. Mine was an adult, a male adult who knew better. Yes, you can still hold them accountable, but when you go to, it depends on you. It just really depends on the
I think
person.
that is really the
Think
answer.
about Joyce Myers, who was molested by her father for years. She didn't take him to jail. She forgave him and actually started blessing him as a
Yeah.
result. Now, I'm not saying that's the key for everybody to do,
Right.
but
But
for
that's
me,
her story and her
but
journey
that's
and how
her
she
story.
chose to
My
handle it.
story was I had to forgive because my perpetrator is deceased. So there's nothing I could do about that. He's gone. And even if he was still alive, I'm not sure if I'll even go the route of going to legalities and all of that. For me, I'm just happy to get past whatever the situation is. And now I know how to deal with it. And
Yes.
as a result, the best thing I could do is forgive you, and you go into your own cell and you
Right.
deal with it because it's no longer mine. So when I say utilizing the power of your voice and doing that, forgiveness. And the last thing I want to tell you is this. Oh, before that, LIG, you got to get to a point where you got to let it go. So anything that comes to you now,
I'm
it's not
typing
that,
it.
yeah, LIG, let it go. Because when you forget something and it comes back to you, you should not react the same way. Okay. It should be a healing process. Do I have flashbacks or stuff like that? Yes, I do. But you know what I said? I am blessed and I am healed by his stripes. I'm good because I'm not going to let no anger and animosity take me to the grave because I'm not about to go to hell for nobody. Okay.
Not at
It's just not.
all. It's
Okay.
like,
I'm
no,
about to do.
I forgive you. I love you. God bless
But
you.
but but
But
there's a boundary. You're not crossing that boundary with me. Period. And then the last thing I'm gonna have to say is because we're gonna have to do another show. I have so much I want to talk about. But the last thing I want to say is because I know our time is winding up, is pay it forward. You don't once God has delivered you from something, you don't have the right to hold that in for nobody. That is selfish. Okay. My responsibility is I am an overcomer. So what I want to do is I want to go back and I want to help other women and other men to get to the place where I am because I don't want them being in bondage the way that I was in bondage. I don't want them going through the hell the way I went through the hell. I don't want them to go through all that when they don't have to. I'm just letting you know that you're not by yourself. There are other people like myself, and I got plenty of friends who can attest to it. There are other people that are going through what I'm going through.
yes.
Once you start announcing it, however you decide to do it, just start taking your power back. And I promise you, it'll make you feel better. But when you go back even further and try to help other people, my advice is social media. My advice is having those conversations and going to workshops, or creating workshops, or being out there being a speaker. My
Right.
goal is it starts with a 4-alarm fire starts one way, and that's by a spark. You have to you got to become the spark. And that spark, all you got to do is reach one. And once that person reach one, then another person reach one, then another person reach one, and then another person reach one. And now it's a 4-alarm fire. Now, if you want to be infectious, that's the way you want to be infectious, because now you want to bring healing. You want to bring deliverance. You want to bring peace. You want to bring joy, not only in yourselves, that's going to be in other people, but yourself. Every time I get an opportunity to be on here and talk to people, it's another way of releasing. It's another way of saying, Lord, I thank you. Now I understand why me. Because yes, I'm a bold creature. I'll put it out there, and I'm very transparent. Okay, so I'll put myself out there, and I'm here to tell you there is no shame in my game, but I'm afraid. Yes, I was afraid too, but you know what? Do it afraid.
Do
You
it
do
afraid. That's what Les Brown
it.
said. If you're scared, do it scared. It doesn't
Do it
matter.
scared.
But do it
That's right.
anyway.
It's uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable, but you
That's
do
right.
it uncomfortable until uncomfortable becomes comfortable, and now it's second nature. Let me
Really,
tell
really
you
good.
my story. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Y'all, listen, we have been talking with Patina. Patina is dropping so much knowledge and information that can help all of us, especially if we're trying to kind of get to the root of what may be going on with any of our children, not doing it in a defensive way where we're being a drill sergeant, but in a way that offers an open, loving line of communication. I think that you eloquently shared your story, and I can't imagine how somebody could do this in such a beautiful, transparent way, but still help so many people. You just that's gift. That's a gift that God gave you. And so I'm grateful for you sharing it today. All right. So tomorrow, I do want to let everybody know that, let me take this down for a quick second. Tomorrow, we have a young lady named Terry Brinston who will be on, and she's going to be talking about affirmations, but she's a woman on a mission, and she's going to be talking about how you can be a person on a mission to get your goals and your dreams accomplished as well right here in 2022. Wow, I can't even believe I'm saying that in 2022.
I know, right? Double twos.
So right after this commercial break, because we're going to be closing out soon here, I'd like for you to talk to us about the favored woman, your chronicles of a favorite woman, as we prepare to close out. But let me just introduce you all to Attorney Charles Everidge from Hunter Everidge Law Firm.
My father had 4 of his fingers amputated in a workplace accident. It was the first injured individual I represented, and I knew I had to win that case. When someone walks into my office and they've been injured, I know what they're going through. If you've been injured at work with Hunter and Everidge. We've got the experience, so let us help you.
All right, everyone, and we are back. I do also want to let you know that Lamb Funeral Home is one of our episode sponsors as well. They are located in the Concord, North Carolina area, but they're serving all 50 states. So if you're looking for a funeral home that has a truly caring atmosphere, give them a call at 704-782-3011. They have over 28 years of funeral home business experience, and Mr. Terry Lamb here in the red and blue striped tie there, he actually is a veteran, so he knows all of the ins and outs of veteran benefits. So again, give them a call and let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. 704-782-3011, no matter where you are in the 50 states. Okay, so Patina, just want to make sure that as we close out today, talk to us about your favored woman, the chronicle of a favored woman. Talk to us about that.
Okay, well, as a result of what happened, I knew something had to be done. And so I always love to talk, and I've always done TV and radio in the past. And I said it would be nice to create an environment where people can come and talk. And actually, the show was initially called Chronicles of a Fondled Woman. Until a good friend of mine was like, Tina, why are you still living in brokenness? It's time for you to come out. So my first year, I was Chronicles of a Fondled Woman. When I got to my second year, I became Chronicles of a Favorite Woman, because I will no longer
look at God, girl.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So I will no longer walk in brokenness anymore, because I am healing and I am healed. And as we are entering our 3rd year of Chronicles of a Favorite Woman, it is on Blog Talk Radio at www. I know I didn't put it there; it was too long. www.blogtalkradio.com/Chronicles of a Favorite Woman. And if you're not on my Facebook page, all you have to do is say you heard me on the Kim Jacobs Show. I will gladly put you on there. You can send me a messenger at Patina Kirkendall, FOUCHINA. Last name is KIRKENDOLL. And you should be able to see me. I'll be more than just message me, and I'll be more than happy. I am available. And we also do the show every Sunday at 9:30 p.m. And I'm usually there whether I'm sick or not. I don't care.
I can tell you weren't feeling well at all when I spoke to
I'm
you.
Sweating like swan. I'm sweating like swan right now. But my point is this.
Showed up.
Yeah, we still gonna do it. I did my show last night, and I was like, I don't let anything. It has to be something detrimental for me not to do it. But anyway, my point is, you can reach out to me on the Blog Talk or you can go to my Facebook page. I also do a Facebook Live when I'm doing my radio show, so you can catch the lives as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, make sure you all stay connected with Patina Kirkendall, and her information is right here for you all to follow her. And you'll be able to check out her blog radio program Sundays at 9:30 p.m. She's also going to be coming out with a show. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's going to be fire. Okay. Let me go real quickly to your studio audience comments as we prepare to close out today's episode. I see you, Veronica Harris. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Happy New Year to you as well. Lithium. Okay, I might botch that out. Robinson, the Robinson person. Good morning to you, Julia. Dr. Joe Harris said, hello, ladies. Very glad to have you today in the virtual studio audience. And I see some other people typing some stuff. Let's see. My mom said, good morning, ladies. Welcome back to the Kim Jacobs Show. Glad to see you all back on this show this morning. Yes. Oh, I see you all the way from the UK. Cyril.
Oh,
okay. Glad to have you. Let's see. That's right. Take this whole thing global, everybody. Let's make sure somebody else typed something. I didn't want to leave the comments of it. Virginia said she loves this. Glad to have you, Virginia Rutherford.
Thank you.
She loves it. She loves it. She loves it. And okay, forgiveness. Yes, forgiveness is freeing. I see all of your comments that's coming in. Forgiveness is freeing. Make sure you let it go. As Patina said, everybody, let it go. Forgive the other person for yourself, just not even about the other person. And make sure you stay connected with Patina Kirkendall on all social media outlets and Chronicles of a Favored Woman blog radio. I will close out by letting you all know, too, if you are interested in supporting the Kim Jacobs Show, the way that you do that is very simple. You can use any of these methods to pour into our ministry, which we come on Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You all know that no show, no company, no business, nothing that is worth its weight can function without having some type of financial support. So I encourage you today to take a moment and just pour into the ministry of the Kim Jacobs Show and allow us to continue to bring wonderful guests like Patina and all of the guests that we bring on the show to help bring balance to this world, one household at a time. Take any of these methods and support the show today. And for those that are the podcast listeners on iHeartRadio and iTunes and SoundCloud, the way that you can give is through Cash App, $ Kim Jacobs Inc. PayPal is paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. Venmo is at the Kim Jacobs Show. And you can also become a Patreon member, patreon.com/the Kim Jacobs Show. And if you want to share your gift with the world, where as you share your own show, we have a masterclass where I will work with you 1 hour for 6 consecutive weeks and help you create your own show. KimJacobsConsulting.com. All right. Closing comment, Patina, and let's get off this good show for today.
Well, thank you for me to be in the first show for 2022, double two. Thank you very much for what you do. I appreciate your ministry that you do, and you're providing an outlet for us folks like myself, and also for you. Thank you for who you are, and many blessings to you and your family. For those who are out there, you are enough. Remember that.
You are enough. You heard it from Patina right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. All right. I don't want to, what I'll do is as we close out, if I see some more comments, I'll go ahead and pop them up, but we're going to close out today's episode, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Patina. Stay backstage and I'll talk to you for a brief moment. And I'm so grateful that you're feeling a little better enough to get on the show today. All right, everybody, have a fantastic rest of your day. And we will see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Wow. I've enjoyed myself with you, and you're very, very inspirational. Very inspirational. Have a great one, everybody. Hello, everybody. everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.